Bada bing, bada boom.
I think we're live. Hey, everybody. Marla Schultz here.
And Jenn Lederer.
What's happening?
Oh, just more ageless adventures every day.
That it is. I'm wondering if I'm looking to see if we're live. Do you see if we're live on radio?
I'm not on it. I'm sure we are, though. It says we are. It probably just takes a second.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody.
You guys, it's our last show.
It's our last show.
It's the end of the roller coaster. Like when you're coming down that last hill and you're catching your breath and you're looking at your friend like, holy shit, we just did that.
Yep.
And then you're like, do we get in line to do it again?
Who knows? Okay, I think we're up. We are live. There we go. I'm going to post it. So Jenn, people, I can't even talk, but so today is the season ender of season 1, Dead to Me, and also this fabulous run of Ageless Adventures, Jenn and Marla's Ageless Adventures, where we have our lives have paralleled not only the relationship between Jenn, 1N, Christina Applegate, and Linda Cardellini, who plays Judy, and how our lives have kind of dovetailed with what is going on in terms of their relationship as buddies and life events, etc.
Etc. I would agree. Like we talked about last week, I think it's interesting how parallel the narratives were, and we didn't realize how parallel they were going to be. Although we should have just assumed that, because we were like, here's 2 strong women with 2 really strong characters and opinions. I wonder if we're going to relate to them. Like, we knew we were going to relate, but the growth trajectory of the relationship, I think, is an interesting parallel.
Without a doubt. I'm just tagging you. So now I've sold. I've shared, so now I can totally concentrate.
Sold to the highest bidder.
Yes. I just am a little discombobulated because I had my first live performances in front of an audience in 6 months, and it was really pretty bizarre to have the audience have masks on and be 25 feet away and not be able to see reactions. And I said, I felt like I was in The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, and you said you were up on a hill?
I was up on a hill and I almost rolled off.
Did you have a stone with some things etched in it that you had to deliver to the people? No,
I felt like it looked like I could have officiated weddings because I was under I call it a huppah, which isn't, but the things that people stand under.
Yeah.
And then I was chewed alive by mosquitoes, and I had a massage, and somebody thought I had a tattoo removed because I just had, it was like the 7 sisters on my shoulder.
But you have that spray that we used when we went out to eat.
I tell you
about your fucking spray.
Well, I had to bring out the full guns. I had to bring out DEET. So it's a good thing I don't have a uterus, because if I had children, they could wind up with, 6 legs and no brain.
There's a silver lining for you.
You think? Think?
Did I tell you my trick with mosquito bites?
No.
Water and salt.
Stops the itching?
It sucks the poison out. So yes, it stops the itching and it takes away the redness. I learned that from an old school Indian couple over in Queens. They ran the copy place.
Yeah.
And I went in there covered in bites one day, and she goes, oh honey, go home, do this. You're going to be fine. She's like, don't worry about any of the creams, water and salt. And it works.
Because honestly, my husband looks like he was shot. His legs were, like he he's got buckshot. He was out deer hunting and he was sprayed with buckshot. That's really good to know.
Yes.
Really good to know.
I also got bitten by mosquitoes. I've been practicing yoga out on my patio.
Right.
And I did it last night around 6:00, but it's really humid right now.
Yeah.
And I realized trying to stay present while being actively hunted is like a new level of stillness.
Or I was going to say mindfulness.
Yes. And allowing. I'm just going to allow. And I was like, no, I'm not allowing. I'm going to murder these bitches in between sun salutations.
That's what it was like when I was performing. All of a sudden it was like, zzz, zzz, and I'm up in the Berkshires. And so
right before you get to your punchline.
Right. You're just like, so about to land the, and doing this. And I mean, welts. So then they decided to bring the shows inside. So it was 10 people behind a plexiglass, behind plexiglass.
Were they each individually like their own bank teller? Or, okay.
No, I was standing behind the plexiglass and then the audience was in front of me. And I said, gee, I feel like a prostitute in Amsterdam. Come hither, laugh at my jokes. It was pretty wild.
They were in masks inside, I assume?
Yes. So that muffles the laughter, number one.
Yeah.
And again, if I saw this, for me to think positively and not, and all of a sudden, I had to do an hour and they were just sitting there and I was like, are you guys having a good time? And then they broke out in applause. So then I realized if their head jerked, it didn't mean they were burping. It was actually, it was like, yeah, that's really funny. When comics are together.
We're going to have to learn to read new body language.
Right.
New
signals. Irises.
Right. Just getting really wide-eyed when you think something's funny.
That's what we're going to have to do.
Does it feel like you're like the age of in the future then? How old do you feel this week?
Good. That's a really good question. I don't know. I think because I'm trying to stay positive, I just want to stay in that 35 to 40 range because that's when, I was footloose and fancy free. People were, partying, going to the beach, happy hour.
Remember those. Remember that the hour that people would be happy. Now we're down to 0 hour happy.
Right. Now it's like, oh, go out, take the mask off. There's nobody walking down 80th Street.
Fresh air.
In Manhattan. I can't breathe through these things in the humidity. I'm, leaning up against, that's when I feel like I'm 100 and I have like cystic fibrosis, congestive heart failure where you're like, emphysema. So then I feel 100.
In between the cigarette drags, those people. Yeah.
Oh, the best. You ever see that? I saw somebody who cut a hole out of their mask and then was smoking a cigarette.
Were they at a casino? This person?
No, it was, near the Gracie, there's that Mary Manning. It's over by, it's on York and 79th. It's like, the old.
Yeah. I see that in casinos. Every time there would be someone wheeling their oxygen tank and smoking. And it's like, I guess at this point, you just have the extra lung that lives outside of you is the mindset. I don't know.
The funniest thing when I worked in Vegas, I saw a woman at the slot machine breastfeeding with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. So she was like, the kid was like latched on and clunk, just pulling the thing and puffing away.
Can't tell her that multitasking doesn't exist.
Bingo.
Wow. Look at that example.
I know. How old do you feel? You're how old?
Hey, oh my God.
Finally got it.
How old do I feel? I'm feeling still young, chipper, because I'm staying off the social meds.
Good for you.
And I'm telling you, it feels better than when I went off of alcohol.
When was that? Not as long as I've known you.
No, not since you've known me. I went 18 months without alcohol from like the end of 2015 to 18 months after that. The first time I had a glass of wine was when I was in Paris, and I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do a little zhuzh. Yeah. But there's some sort of crazy detox happening. And by detox, I mean, oh, these are my thoughts. Oh, interesting to be with my own self. Yeah.
That's it. You know what? I should take a page out of your playbook, because I really have to go off sugar. I have to go out for sugar. I just gotta do it. The tire around the middle, and the fact that we're almost mid-August. Again, I'm not getting in that bikini.
A little late, but listen, put on a bikini and there you have a bikini body.
One that should not be exposed in public.
We can agree to disagree.
Okay. Hey, listen, I think I told you I was in Greece, and there I was in my one piece, and I was fit. And this woman who looked like a Shar-Pei, and you couldn't even see. She had like roll and roll and roll, and you couldn't even see the distinction between her skin and her bikini bottom. And she was topless. So she had these fun bags that were like flotation devices. And she was naked on the beach. And then she had a little skinny boyfriend who was just lifted up her boob and was just slathering on the suntan lotion. She just sat like that. And I'm like, what's wrong with this picture?
What is wrong with that picture? What's your problem with that picture? You jealous?
I wasn't, well, yeah, because she didn't give a shit. And there I am in my one piece going, what's wrong with this picture?
That's right.
Body positivity, ladies and gentlemen.
She sounds like a good time. She sounds like the kind of woman you go out with and she gets everything that she wants.
I'm telling you, I noticed it looked like she had dental floss on her bottom, like that. Her, the bippy was all covered up with, it looked like a little, I mean, it was astonishing. Did I learn the lesson of not having body dysmorphia and thinking I'm fat? No, didn't.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's always today.
There is always today. And, we have one life to live, and you gotta, they always say you gotta make this day, live it like it's your last one. So
YOLO.
YOLO is right. And it's this season ender of our favorite show, Dead to Me. And this episode.
Talk about it. Bring us in.
Okay. The episode is You Have to Go Now. And it's about the breakup of Judy and Jenn, because Judy confesses finally after, I think, getting permission, because she attended her Abe, the old sage played by Ed Asner, who I loved. He passes away, and she attends a funeral with a rabbi, and she finds out that there's no heaven, there's no hell, because Jews, I'm sorry, there happened to have been a rabbi in the episode, so I gotta bring in the Jew factor.
Bring it in. First time ever, you guys.
So the rabbi that I even mentioned, like, being Jewish, which is a shock to, our legions of viewers. And she, Judy is, the conscious, she's so in turmoil, and she goes to the rabbi and says, wow, that was a really beautiful sermon. What is your take on heaven and hell? And the rabbi says, let me tell you something. There's no heaven, there's no hell. And she pretty much says, if, in order to, you have to make amends. So you have to ask forgiveness if you've done anything to hurt somebody. And she's like, oh, okay. And I think at that moment, Judy's like, wow, I wish I was Jewish, right? So she then takes it upon herself, and she tracks down Jenn, who is now working with her obnoxious pill-popping mother, who's obsessed. Like, I think there was a real Oedipal complex, because I think she was really in love with her son.
Yeah.
Okay. And Judy shows up and freaks Jenn out, who, by the way, completely ripped out any evidence that Judy lived in her guest house, burned everything, outfitted her house with brand new surveillance stuff, and had a really painful hangout with Karen, her neighbor.
Yeah. But Karen plants a very important seed in that conversation.
Right. Having a gun.
Well, and the rule of, did you know that if you tell someone they have to leave and they don't, you can totally shoot them in the head? Like that foreshadowing, the way that they utilized that character to plant that seed is so funny.
But it was also giving Jenn permission to say, oh my God, if Judy comes back, I'm going to shoot her in the head, which midway in the episode, she did convey, like, if you come near me, you psycho bitch, you kill my husband and then you move into my house. And oh, you know what I really loved that she said when Jenn went to the cop and said, Judy killed my husband. And then the cop says, I know. And Jenn said something about why is it people know what's going on, but then there's no consequences for their behavior. And I thought that was very profound and prophetic to what's happening in the world today. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody gets caught. Nobody has to take responsibility, and the world's going to shit.
Are you a Judy or a Jenn?
I'm a Jenn. Actually, no, I would say 80% Jenn, but because I have developed a conscience and I do something, I will take responsibility. And, but if I killed somebody, yeah, I don't know. How about you?
Well, just to some of what you were saying, there was a lot of conversation in this episode about getting over your own guilt and the different ways that different people do it, and the difference between like how Jewish people do it and then how the Christian Catholic community does it. So in the Catholic and Christian world, it's if you admit it to God, you're good. Like you can do anything you want, but then you go in the little room and you're like, please forgive me, and then you're good. So am I correct in the difference being in Christianity and Catholicism, it's between you and God, but in Judaism, it's between you and whoever you wronged?
And making amends, kind of, but then again, Christians and Catholics are born with original sin. So you're
right. Okay, and Jewish
and
people
the baptism, yes, and which doesn't make sense because every Jew is like, we all have despite being the chosen people according to the Bible, I think we all have we're all feeling guilty. But Catholics, are you Catholic? Does it matter?
I was raised Episcopalian, so Catholic light.
Catholic light. Just the whole thing of original sin, and then it's like as the mother-in-law said, when you're born with original sin, you get baptized, and it's like a do-over.
Right. Clean slate. And Jews don't believe in that. And you just have to, make amends for if you've done anything. And there's no heaven and there's no hell. Yeah. See, personally, I treat every shower as a baptism. So that's how I.
Really?
That's how I do it. It's just clean slate every day. Let's just start over. Just Control Alt Delete. Okay. So there's that. And then Judy, okay, so this whole time, you're like, Judy is a sociopath. What is going on? But also, why do I like her?
Right.
Why am I getting a sense of like, she's this person that got stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like she's doing her best. And so that moment when Steve confronts Jenn at the end of the episode, and you start to see Jenn put it together that Judy never wanted to run from the scene. Judy never wanted to let it get this far. And so you kind of saw it wash over Jenn. In some ways, I think it was a relief to her of like, okay, my intuition wasn't that off. Like this woman, I could trust her. Like she was trying to actually make amends. She was trying to make things better. She was riddled with guilt, which drove her to do crazy ass shit, like move into my guest home and become my friend.
But then there's also a big thing. Judy went and gave a bird to the son, the holy, when he was preparing for the holy rollers, every breath you take, which I thought that there was some sort of symbolism, but I didn't quite figure it out. And she gave him the bird. And then when, after the older son came home and the alarm went off and they had a rapprochement where I love you and I'm so sorry. But then when she looked at the bird, she saw the cash, because Jenn, when Judy showed up at the open house, she just said, I want to make it better. I love you so much. And the pain of Jenn of having to cast away a really good girlfriend who, she probably, she's just one of those tough chicks that really doesn't let a lot of girls in, a lot of women in. That betrayal and that hurt was so evident, and saying, if you come near me again, I'm going to shoot your fucking head off.
Yeah.
But then when she saw what Judy did to try and make amends, and that's when Steve showed up.
Yep. And by the way, it wasn't just some cash in the bird. It was $500,000 in a cashier's check. It was like, I mean it. I'm sorry. Money where the mouth is.
Yes. I will be homeless. And my boyfriend, the joint bank account that I completely emptied out, will probably kill me. But I want you to have this nest egg because I love you so much. And there you go. Hey, are you leaving me $500,000?
Oh, that was going to be the bonus surprise at the end of the episode.
Damn it. I'm always jumping the shark.
Jumping
the shark.
It's more of a IOU currently.
Okay.
But I'm good for it.
Yes. Okay. Oh, we're getting comments. I wish I had my glasses on. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. There's Ken. Okay.
Andrew,
Peter Kramer.
Ken. Is Rob here? I'm expecting all the regs to be here.
I know. And they're all dudes. I love it. Thanks for the support, chicks, bitches. See more. Anyway, hi guys. Thank you for tuning in for our final show.
Yes.
But let's continue on this train of thought, because you're getting to some meaty stuff.
Okay. I'm going to say that I'm more of a Judy from this episode. Because I can relate to the experience of, I let other people's influence get the best of me, and now I'm stuck in this situation, and I'm severely misunderstood, and the work it takes to get out of the situation is 10 times more than the work I was trying to avoid by getting into the situation in the first place. It's always a lesson of, God damn it, like, why didn't I just, like, if Judy would have followed her intuition right from the beginning, it wouldn't have been a hit and run. It would have been a hit.
Right. And she would have taken care of it. And, she does have a conscience, and I think she definitely would have owned up to her mistake. It's, her spineless, conscienceless boyfriend, Steve, that, drove her and also imbued her and put his shit on her, which is, it's like he was constantly gaslighting her. And I've been in that situation too, which is really horrific, because when you start doubting yourself and ignoring your intuition, that's no bueno.
And you also learn just how much of a criminal Steve is in this episode. He's laundering money. Well, you kind of learn that at the end of the last episode, but to take that into consideration, like when something happenstance illegal happens, right? A hit and run, or like you hit someone. If you're already a guilty conscience, if you're already like, yo, I can't talk to the cops, like the cops can't be looking into me for any reason.
Right.
That, I think, drove Steve's urgency in that moment of let's get the hell out of here, because he's already guilty. He's already working in the mindset of criminal.
Right.
So he's always just, I'm looking out for number one and we got to get the hell out of here. Whereas Judy was a human in that moment and she didn't have time to think before they were gone.
Right. So I think it was really, it's interesting how when the shit went down between Jenn, as Steve was just kind of unburdening himself to Jenn and letting him, shining a light really on what went down when they hit Jenn's husband, Ted, and blamed Judy for leaving him on the side of the road. And there was a couple of other details that I'm completely spazzing on.
Well, he turned to her and said, drive the car, stupid. Like, he was really abusive in that moment.
Right. Now, did he admit that to?
No, that was just a flashback that we saw.
Okay, so Jenn didn't know that. So what was the moment where Jenn was like, you have got to leave now?
When she realized that Steve was the mastermind of the crime, which the crime is the run.
Right.
It turned into a crime then. And she saw moments when Judy had been trying to tell her what was happening.
Yeah.
The whole time, Steve was trying to position Judy as the crazy person.
Yeah.
So now Jenn is seeing in this moment, oh my God, he's been playing me too.
Right.
And there is nothing worse than two women at the same moment realizing one man is playing both of them. If there is one way to bring women together, it is that scenario where both women are like, oh shit.
We've been played. We've been had.
And he's right in front of me and I'm holding a gun.
But what's interesting too? It's like a guy will blow apart a friendship between two chicks. And then when they realize they've been double crossed.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did I lose my golden girl? Like, how can that be? I'm not doing a dude again. And when I'm, 85, I'm moving into the adult condo and we're going to be roommates.
Yeah. I mean, people like Steve just never fathom people turning on him. He's the golden boy.
Right. Because he's so handsome and slick and, gets everything. He's like the moth, he's the flame and, everybody else is the moth. And that's how he's been raised by his Oedipal complex mother.
Really weird.
It is weird.
She's
it's a strange dynamic. A strange dynamic.
The season finale ends with Jenn and Judy standing over Jenn's pool with Steve's dead body floating in it.
She didn't use the gun, right? Did she use the bird to hit him over the head? Like, what prompted?
So we don't see that until the beginning of the second season. We don't have any answers to that until the beginning of the second season. But
got it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember her using the gun. It's like there's people in her home, there's neighbors. I don't see her being able to get away with shooting someone and having people not hear it.
Right, and Karen eavesdropping because her husband is a homosexual, having hooking up with his husband and his boyfriend in Fresno, California, like a DoubleTree.
A red roof inn.
I think it was or La Quinta, which is one of my favorite punchlines. La Quinta. It wouldn't have been a gun, but he's floating in the pool. And the one person she knows she can trust implicitly with covering up her tracks intuitively is Judy.
Yeah. And in that moment, there's the empathy of, oh, I know exactly what it feels like for a moment to be taken over. Like,
right.
Judy didn't mean to kill Ted, and Jenn didn't mean to kill Steve.
Right.
It was a moment of rage.
Mm-hmm.
And with Judy, it was just a moment of accident. So I think also there was that connection of, we've both been played. This woman just did everything she could to try and make it up to me. I now just did the same thing to her, because whether Steve is an asshole or not, Judy loved him. Like, Judy loved Steve. So now Jenn has to be like, God damn, I did the same thing to her.
You know, I wanted retribution, but I don't think this is what I was thinking. I just was going to make her homeless and toss her out of my house. But now I really messed up and I need her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that empathy of, we're not that different, right? We have to stick together. Yeah. And having a friend that will help you bury the body.
Take it to the grave.
Come on.
That is the ultimate of dedication, and having someone like that you can trust with your deep, dark secrets.
Yep.
And, you know, I want to give a shout out to my friend Tracy Esposito. She would always say, Mal, you got to take this to the grave. You got to take this to the grave. And I was like, Trey, you got to take this to the grave. She's like, I got you covered. I was like, I got you covered. And that symbiotic, well, I'm just blanking. I'm blanking on the word, but that connection and just having that kind of trust, those are the kind of friends that you need to surround yourself with in 2020. Because a lot of shit is popping. People are stressed. People are getting a little crazy, overreacting, and something happens. You just want to have him take it to the grave, you know?
Yeah. Take it to the grave. That would have been a good title for this episode too, for Dead to Me.
Take it to the grave. That is a really good, not you have to leave, because that opens up Pandora's box. It just implies so many different things.
But you have to leave now is that seed that Karen plants of like, if I tell you to leave and you don't, now I get to kill you.
Correct.
So they kind of build that tension in, because she says it to Judy a couple times and you know she's carrying a gun. So the writers kind of plant the seed of she's about to shoot Judy at some point in this episode. But then
sure. But then the switch. Right. The switch happens and boom.
Those talented writers.
Yes.
So
leave you hanging. That was a cliffhanger.
Yes, because it always, like, those kinds of shows leave you saying, how do you get away with this? Like, you know that these women don't end up in jail next season. So it's just a question of like, how do the writers get out of this one? And you know the cops are already looking at Steve because of the money laundering. So they're looking for the guy, and that's the last person you want to kill. The guy that the cops are already looking for.
But also Judy turned him in, like she was just about to confess, you know, to the cop. And finally she said, Steve's money laundering, and led her to the trail, which I thought was interesting because that was also like that was like pre-cum, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Absolutely.
So she kind of tipped her hat to give her, I think, to bide a little time. And then, led the detective to the evidence. And then when Jenn came back, and that's when she said, you know what, everybody knows what's going on, and nobody takes responsibility. Nobody has a conscience. And I just thought it was a perfect way to wrap up the episode, the season. I thought it was great.
I think so too. They leveled the playing field. There was no longer one is better than the other. They were morally on the same ground. Now you've both accidentally killed the other person's love.
Right. And so what are we going to do about it?
What are we
How do
going to
we
do
go?
about it? Where do we hide the body?
I don't know. Who knows?
You just put up 18 HD security cameras that just caught all of this on camera.
And your neighbor is, you know, she's nosy to begin with because she is a Karen, literally and figuratively. And
Yes.
now she's going to be, you know, she's boring.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on, you guys?
Are you having a party? And oh, are you expecting lots of people? You know,
You guys
I
talking
catering
about me?
check. What's happening? But I think that's a really good segue to kind of wrap up, you know, what's next? What's happening in season 2 for you, for me, and for Dead to Me?
Okay, season 2. I'm going into season 36. That's what I'm headed into. I don't know what's next. I'm still in a bunch of question marks. There's nothing but question marks in my world, which I like. I'm getting to be more comfortable with. But some ageless advice that I can leave you with is very simple and very kumbaya-esque. But love wins. Love wins.
Absolutely.
Love wins. Even when you got to have the hard conversations, even when you don't want to say something or you don't want to feel something or whatever, if you can lead with the love,
Yes.
if you can trust in the love, I think love wins. Is love all we need? No. We need money. We need food. We need security. We need leadership. We need a lot of shit. Laughter.
Yeah.
Yes. But love, ultimately, it wins.
Well, I don't know if I came up with this hashtag, and I hate taking ownership of jokes or this because, you know, I'm always hearing things, but I love hashtag love trumps hate.
Yes. Why do you love it? Why do you love it?
I just think it's like a double entendre. It has many meanings. It can be pointed. It can be kind of parallels what you just said, love wins. Yeah. And, you know, how you feel about the current administration and, you know, the vitriol that it puts out. Love trumps hate. And let's hope it does. January 23rd, 2021.
I believe November 3rd is the date.
Oh, that's right. The inauguration. I need to get better sleep. My ageless advice is, if you're lost, just keep going straight because eventually you will hit you'll hit the main road. So if you veer off right, you veer off left, you just go around in circles and circles and circles. So it's really a driving metaphor, but I think it encompasses life. So it's pretty much just stay on the straight and narrow. Don't veer to the right, veer to the left, because it's just going to bring you back and you're still going to have to move forward.
And would you describe yourself as being on the straight and narrow, Marla Schultz?
No, I need to practice what I preach because I have a tendency to do donuts and I'm like patching out and all this stuff, but I want to.
So don't you think there's a case for that though?
Yeah, if you want to, you know, get in your own way, do the donuts, spin out, because then again, you know, you got to keep moving forward. And there's a lot of creative projects that I want to do. And one of them is I'm going to go solo and I'm going to be continuing this radio show, not the Ageless Adventures format, but I'm going to have lots of guests and we're going to really make mental health funny and the importance of laughter and dealing with, depression, anxiety, and having a lot of people, entertainers, etc., talking about what they do to keep positive and, you know, make it funny in 2020 and going into 2021. And I hope everybody will be into seeing me solo with a bunch of guests and talking about, flipping the switch. What is it? Turning a frown upside down.
I love that. Flip the switch. I love that. Do you have a title yet?
Oh, it could be Flip the Switch with Marla. That's pretty cool. I think
like
that might, yeah, let's, flip the switch with Marla because it encompasses so much. But you guys, for Ken and Andy and Jeff, I hope you guys will tune in. And Jen, you made a commitment on air that you will appear.
Yes, I will.
You will be a guest, which would be amazing.
Yes.
And,
do you know what day of the week it's going to air? Are you changing days and times?
I might keep this time actually, because Ken and Peter and Jeff and Andrew, I think we can continue this relationship, guys.
You see how loyal she is, you guys? How about that?
Yeah.
Loyalty.
Yes. But I do want to wish everybody, this has been an amazing year and a half working with the lovely and talented Jenn Lederer, who I love with all my heart. And we've created a lot of fun stuff. And, if you miss us, we are Ageless Adventures Season 1 and Hunker Down version they live on YouTube, so you can subscribe. And if you want to reach out to us there, you can. And this has been an absolute lifesaver, because the past 2 years have been very challenging with personal, and my mom and my dad passing, and my mom getting sick, and she's doing well. And Jenn, you have been an absolute bright spot, and you have given me love and laughter and levity at a time when I really needed it.
Well, this has been a blast. I've learned so much just from the production side, first of all. Like, it has been a growing, learning curve for me on that side. But then also watching the way that we created on the fly, right?
Yeah.
It was really kind of exactly what you guys just saw happen with she was talking and I was like, oh, flip the switch. You just said, it was like, those moments are kind of just the way that we live when we're together. And I love that.
But it also brought in the whole twin flames. Like, when people think of twin flames, they think of more of a romantic relationship. But when we first met, it was like, oh yeah, you too? Oh yeah. And despite the age difference, and that gave birth to Ageless Adventures, showing that despite your age, you can have very similar reactions. And for us to be so similar when outwardly we present so differently, and people are like, how can you? But it's like the overlapping thoughts, reactions, and like the intuitive thoughts. I mean, it's just been wild.
And of course, shout out to Tony and Sally and the Govs Radio fam for bringing us on. We really can't thank you enough.
And thank you for the invitation to carry on. And I'm really, really excited about that. So again, I can't believe we're in August. Wear your masks. Let's beat this coronavirus. Enjoy, and let's, collectively think that we will be able to go to the Bordy Barn on Long Island, have happy hours, and
Bordy Barn.
The Bordy Barn. Total Long Island. It's like Hampton Bays. You go to the beach, you go to Bordy Barn for happy hour. I miss it.
I miss life. We'll have it back soon.
I miss life too.
What?
Yes.
Soon is a relative term, and one that I'm going to hold on to.
Right back at you, girlie. All right, everybody. Have a great summer. Stay healthy. Let's keep laughing, and I'll see you mid-September. Same time, same bat channel.
Bye.
Mwah. Bye.